Good morning. It's that happy time of day again where we're out. The sun's just risen and we're gonna, walk the dogs. And yesterday was pretty amazing, spontaneous day. Days are spontaneous anyway, you never know what's going to happen when you wake up in the morning. And I was talking to Richie on 007, I think that's what it's called. Anyway, hopefully I'll stick a link in and I'll remember. Got a lot going on at the moment, so trying to remember as well as having an intention is fitting the both together. So where I'm at this morning is a little contemplation over what happened yesterday and what I heard, and I took some time to listen to what I'd missed. I mean, you never miss anything really. Everything that you're supposed to do, that you're supposed to hear, that you're supposed to see, it comes to you. So I watched the start of the recording up until when I started talking to them, because, well, I wondered what was being said and I wanted to get a feeling for things, because I just jumped straight in and flowed with it, and that's what I do. Life is there to be flowed with. We don't fight against it. Fighting against a current, it just wears you out and eventually rips you off and takes you out to sea. So never a good idea. So flowing with the current. Oh, beetly thing. I love beetles, but maybe not in my face. So what am I trying to say? Yes, that's it. I love the birds in the morning. I'm trying to say that when I was listening to yesterday's discussion, debate, coffee time it's called, which I think is a beautiful way to be in your day and connect with others, especially when you can't get out or about, or you feel you can't get out and about. It's certainly a time to really tune in and drop out, so to speak, so you can make those connections. And one of the things I've noticed is people are having a bit of a tough time where they feel like life is happening to them, and it's happening to them, and it happens again and again and again, and they feel like it's the reason for that is because they're a victim of life in some way. Well, it's common belief. Why wouldn't we believe it? You know, it makes perfect sense. The only thing is, when you know about the universal laws and things like that, it doesn't, as much as it makes logical and perfect sense, you see how it happened, but you see why it happened. Now the thing is, our thoughts, what we whinge about, happens more. Now we're still okay to complain and acknowledge stuff, but don't stay there in that hole. Like, oh my word, there was a time in my life where shit started hitting the fan and continued to hit the fan. And as one trauma ended, another one began. Sometimes there was probably hours between one trauma and the next. Sometimes it was a week. Sometimes it was a month. And just as you were kind of starting to feel like you were getting some way of swimming and floating, something had happened that felt like you were being pulled straight in again. And life can do that to you. That is what life can do if you allow it. And I was like, but why me? Like, why me? Why does all this shit happen to me? And I really kind of was throwing myself a pity party, and I really felt sorry for myself, and I felt so helpless at circumstances beyond my control over and over and over and over again. I believed things about health, I believed things about politics, I believed things about religion. I believed that karma was this thing, so if bad shit happened, it must be my own fault because bad shit's happened, right? So maybe I was a real terrible person in a previous life. It's absolute bollocks. It really is. What we get is, in actual fact, is so many things that bring us opportunities for growth, and when we don't listen to them and what the universe is saying and find our lessons sooner, the choices we make get harder as the lesson gets turned up in intensity, in volume and in frequency. And then what we have to do is get our head round something, because eventually it's so big, all encompassing and mind-blowing, that what happens is we've got no other opportunity than to find out what that is and deal with it in whatever way is possible, or check out, or sit in that mindset of it always happens to me. And you know what, it sucks. I only find it comical because I know how much of a torture it was for all them fucking years. Absolute torture. And I know how badly I wanted to die. And now I prayed for death. And how it somehow I just kept living, and the problems kept coming, and everything just kept happening to me until I took control and changed the language. The language that we use to ourselves or with ourselves in our own heads. And it started by just stopping giving myself such a hard time in the way that I was calling myself names. I was replaying things that people had called me and told me because I thought that they were true. So I was going on at myself and giving myself a real hard time. I also believed it was my fault. Well, in effect it is, but that's not very, it sounds real cruel and harsh. How the hell is it my fault? How the fuck is childhood sexual assault and abuse my fault? You know? And it isn't. But what was my fault was learning about boundaries. And as a child, we can't learn about boundaries. But as a child, I was someone else's responsibility. Under the age of 10, we all are. We all had maybe we have the right to be treated a certain way and seen a certain way and looked after and cared for and nurtured. Let's face it, it doesn't fucking happen for a lot of us. And then we feel like we've lacked, like, wow, someone's shortchanged us. What happened there? Well, let me put this out there. How about before we entered this human experience, how about the fact that, which I believe to be fact, after much research in different religions and spiritual things and over the years, how about we chose it? We decided that we were going to go into life to learn the real hard shit and the lesson, the main lesson or lessons that we hadn't learnt so far that will evolve us into a light being, a homo luminous being. And how about if we just sit with whatever it is? How about we'll learn things about consent, about boundaries, about the importance of having a voice, about remembering that we've got free will, you know? Anyone can take away everything that we own. And I have lost pretty much everything many times in my life. I never lost the clothes I was stood up in, but it could have gone. And I never lost, and I'll always have, right until that moment that I make my transition, I will always have that free will. I will always have the right and the ability to think and to choose what I think and believe. And whatever people tell me, I don't have to subscribe to that shit. I don't. Like, why should I? So people can see what's going on the outside, but they don't know what's going on inside. And inside's where you can keep all your power and you can allow it out when it's safe to do so. So it's all about honouring yourself and honouring the fact and being grateful for the fact you still got free will. Whenever you're in a relationship, there are loads of relationships out there which may be healthy and supportive, and there's loads out there that make you feel uncomfortable, and you think, why does this feel uncomfortable? It's time to turn inward. Why do you feel uncomfortable? What boundaries need setting? What do you need to do in language, in communication? How can you improve? Don't worry about the other people. The other people will just drop off out your life and fuck off, as they do. They really do. That is part of living and being. People just drop off and gone. And sometimes when we're not so conscious that it happens, these people go and we're like, oh no, we might have upset them, blah, blah, blah. Well, how about you've raised your vibration? You've raised your frequency. They can't handle where you're at in your life right now. They can't handle the fact that you're doing whatever you're doing, because they can handle them, and that's their right. So they have to take time out and go their different ways, and that's cool. That's cool as fuck. Wish them well. You know, just because we hang out, just because we love each other, just because we're friends, just because we got on for a lifetime so far, doesn't mean we're not going to evolve into a different pathway where we're going to be saying goodbye, where, you know, maybe we evolve on different levels at different rates. And that's normal. That is so normal. So don't worry about that. But the power always starts with you. You're so capable of taking your power back by tuning in here and thinking about what is it that you really want to achieve. What is it you believe in right now? Is it real? And if it's real, is it true? And if it's not real, where's the truth in it? There'll be some truth and plenty of bullshit. And somewhere in there you'll find absolute truth if you look hard enough. So I'm going to disappear off your screen, and I'm going to go wander with my fur babies on our walk, because soon it'll be breakfast time for the birds and the dogs, and then me, and a cup of tea, time for a tea, and I got stuff to do. So whatever you're going through, whatever you are going through in life right now, know it's not going to last. This too shall pass. I know it sounds corny, but this too shall pass. You can get through it. You will get through it if you choose to. And know that what you're putting your power into, the power of your thought, is amazing. And that is where you will consciously create your own change.